Hey everyone, a nerd named Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 37 of Kamen Rider Geats. This is one of those episodes where it's literally like, how much shit talking can people do to finally make a snap? That's literally the theme of this episode. Because, I feel like constantly you're just poking the bear in this episode, and I didn't think 37 episodes in we'd get the debut of basically our berserker form. And I really wish it was Kawa. I feel like Kawa had all the seeds planted for Kawa to get a berserker form or berserk form, and yet it was Ace. Um, but that's later. That's like the end of the episode. We got to go over everything leading up to all this. Once again, I've been saying constantly, this whole Baroba Kakura team up has been just weird. So I guess they decide because the grand end is coming. They're like, all right, we'll give the drivers back, but we got to go see the goddess. And they actually made some wishes to the goddess. Don't know what they are, but I was like, this is interesting because I, you know, how the wishes work from a standpoint. It's like, oh, you could just write on the card, and if you're in front of the goddess, you just hold up the card and have your wishes done. But we also know that's not fully the case either, because our big bad tries and it doesn't work at one point. Remember the Desire Royale? That's a thing. We get the ending of it, and it's a tie between Michinaga and Sarah, and so they go OT. OT is weird because it's okay, you have 1 hour and you have to take ID cores from the other players, and then whoever has the most win. The only good thing about that is they actually get to fight each other because you got to steal them. And even though it was a quick clip, we got to see actual mention of Sarah and Kawa's parents, because Kawa goes over the whole, he needs to still win so he could save the eliminated people and everyone who, basically are gone from the DGP. I like how, Kuhn basically spills the beans to Neon that, hey, guess what? The Grand End's coming. Doesn't matter. No one's getting their wish granted regardless. And, basically, when Neon, shares this information with the rest of the class, so to speak, Kawa's reaction, because he's not done this and that, they're really setting up this big moment where it's he's wants to save all these people, and I'm like, man, every time I feel like we're getting these big moments, these character moments for Kawa, nothing pans out for it. And I swear they do it so much. If there isn't if he doesn't get that plot moment, that big haha, he's I'm gonna be mad, because they wasted so much time making it seem like Kawa was gonna do something, and we got even more because, like I said, we got to take the ID course. So it's now 3v1 Buffa versus Neon, Kawa, and Sarah, and a lot of fighting. There's one scene when they're in a bus, and Kawa constantly making the save, and Kawa and Buffa just in that small, close combat, close quarters area. Some nice freaking camera shots, which I enjoyed, but Buffa takes basically Nan and Sarah out. There's a nice scene where he's about to, hit the finishing blow on Sarah. Nan takes the hit for it, but it does not matter as Buffa gets those ID cores from them and crushes them up. And I was just like, this should be that, oh my god moment for Kawa. And it kind of was to an extent, because he starts going in on Buffa, and Buffa's still OP. So some plot points that actually were moved forward. Gene, like I said, he was able to get the Vision drivers back, brings them to Niram, and so we find out this whole entire time Gene was basically setting up near him because he gives Ace the other driver, and because Ace even says he's not leaving his mother with the DGP, and I was like, ooh, because like everything was revealing information about Ace's mother and also setting up everyone basically making Ace snap because Punk Jack is looking into Ace's mother. So I was like, oh, I thought this was like a ruse at first, why he was back, like because I thought maybe this whole entire time like that was just him trying to like distract Ace, but he actually is looking into his mother. So it wasn't a lie because Sumeri shows up and he's in the historical records for the DGP. And I was like, all right. And we find out that, like, Ace's, he found like a entry predating Ace's birth called the Desire Incarceration. And we find out there's this man who opened a door no one should, and he was erased from history. This was an event that added a new rule to the DGP, and that rule is a player and a navigator must never enter into an intimate relationship. So I was like, well, we knew Mitsume was a navigator, so that means one of the DGP Desires and Ace's mom were kind of, and that's how Ace was born. Another cool thing is like that Soul guy and Ace finally show down, and this is when he even says they're leaving soon, and this is like what I was saying, we're getting all these things that are poking at Ace, getting him riled up, because there's one line that I was like, oh, this is good, because he literally tells Ace that the goddess of creation, Ace's mom, is just a mere tool for making wishes a reality. And to prove it, he shows a desire card and he writes, he wished for a world without Ace, and he shows it to the goddess, and actually surprised everybody, the goddess statue starts to crack after making noises, and Niram and everyone was shocked because she's actually refusing to make the wish. And Soul goes in over, he says, well, over time the power's weakened, and that a goddess who can't grant wishes is worthless garbage to be disposed of in her grand end. And I'm like, bro, you just literally said Ace's mom is a mere tool. Now you're saying she's garbage and that, you should be disposed of. And I'm like, bro, you guys just want Ace to just lose his shit. Like, that's all you guys want. And like, there's so many moving parts right now because we have all this Ace stuff over here, but then we still have the Michinaga Buffa saga that I don't know how this is going to end, honestly. Like, because Buffa is, he's taking out Kawa. He's fighting for that ID core. He's trying to grab it and ID. And, he's trying to fight off his hand in this and that. It's not working. And we get the Kawa anger, this and that, and he's like, he's not happy about this. He claims the goddess still needs to atone, and the whole time Ace is looking on, and Ace, just with all these revelations, you can see that he's cracking. And one of the cool things is Kawa, probably one of the more badass style moments, he actually still tried to attack Buffa while he was a civilian, and that she messed up, the goddess messed up their world, and he needs to fix it. And oddly enough, just as Buffa's about to crack that ID core, Punk Jack comes in, punches it out of his hand, and OT is over. And we find out that Buffa and Kawa are now tied because Kawa picked up Sarah's bag of ID cores. And Punk Jack kind of stops everyone. He's like, listen, I got a message for everyone. He tells everyone what he found out about it. That the navigator desired a forbidden love and prayed for 3 days and 3 nights, resulting in a miraculous birth. From that day forth, she gained the power to forge the world, and he claims that the goddess isn't to blame, as it's management that is using her powers this way. And the whole time when he mentioned the whole praying thing, I was like, that sounds oddly familiar to how Ace came back into the DGP episodes ago. And I was like, Sumeri? I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Another thing, like I said, goddess cracked. They actually lower her into the world. She's all chained up, and Niram is, like, why are we leaving her behind? And it's brought up that they already have an inheritor for the goddess's power. Like I said, who else has prayed or anything and had something happen? Sumeri, obviously. And Ace shows up because he wants to save his mother, and Zul just tells Niram, hey, go eradicate him. And like I said, everyone is saying all these these lines that are pushing Ace because they would say the Mitsume you're longing to meet is long gone. And I'm like, listen, it's his mom, even if she's in a statue, you guys are poking the bear, and you can see, he's not, Ace isn't about that. And I do like we're getting Gazer versus Laser Boost round 2. This time he didn't start with Boost Mark 2, which is good, because I complained that every time he starts with Boost Mark 2, he's just going to get tired. So what's the point? And the fighting is so good. And you can tell Niram was taking it seriously because his arms were not back behind his back at all in this fight. Good visually appealing fighting. I was like, oh, and this whole entire time the goddess statue's cracking more, pieces are falling, and Niram actually beats Ace. And we see like a whole wing of the statue fall and another piece fall right in front of Ace. Ace is distraught. Even Niram says, hey, if you're lost because you can't keep your composure. And I was like, oof. And like Ace grabs a piece and starts yelling, Dragon Ball style, and out of nowhere he gets the new driver that appears on his belt, and the henshin is insane. Like the suit looks so good, and that's why I was like, oh, this is definitely a berserk form, and this is so nice, so delicious. Lots of thumbnail bait, too much thumbnail bait. And I was like, so we got Boost Mark 3, and I was like, damn. And the episode just ended like that, and I was like, of course it is, because that's how this works. But man, the suit looked so clean, that henshin. I was like, dude, we've already seen the toys leak boxes and scans and stuff. We know the full form when it's done. We know what the whole driver looks like when it or the gimmick looks like when it opens. Looks really cool. This was a good episode. The build up to Ace cracking and getting his berserk form was done really well when you look at the overall plot arc for this. I just wish there was like I said, every time Ace gets an upgrade or anything else, everyone else's plot points are kind of pushed to the side or not progressed. They're just standing still. Like Sarah and Nan are actually eliminated, and he crushed the ID cores. So I was like, ooh, okay, so they can't be a Kamen Rider ever again. But I'm like, we're 37 episodes in. Realistically, what, 10, 11 episodes if it's 48 episodes in the season? And I'm like, this is going to be intriguing. The only way I could see it happening is Kawa getting his wish, because that would kind of reset everything. But at the same time, the grand end means they're done. They're leaving. And we still have the gate situation from last episode that hasn't really been brought up, except very passing in the beginning, which was kind of like a recap of Gene talking with Baroba. So I don't know what's going on with that. But that's it for episode 37 of Kamen Rider Geats. I enjoyed it. I think we're hitting that home stretch where hopefully things pick up. Like I said, my only worry right now is, since there's so many plot points, and like I said, I'm not going to list them all, that haven't been resolved or felt like they're throwaway in this and that. And it's one of those things where it's some of these were good. I wanted to see get panned out and more information on, but I don't know if they're going to happen. But let me know in the comments what you think of this episode of Kamen Rider Geats. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.